Socialists who identify private property with greed ignore the fact that people, real people, will put more effort into preserving and developing what is their own than into what is common. Without resources, we cannot properly explore our own talents. We become the servants of some collective. Since Locke, however, classical liberals have been concerned not only with the moral case for private property, but with the fact that it is the essential condition for prosperity. Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of the United States, was a scholar, architect, and statesman from Virginia. He was the author of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, which used Locke's arguments to justify the American colonists' revolution against the government of George III. Jefferson wrote,
"All men are created equal, with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed."
Jefferson applied Locke's individualism.
The notion was that government was, in effect, a social compact, that there were natural rights which individuals enjoyed antecedent to government, and that when the social compact was agreed to, that the individual rights would be maintained against whatever state was set up. In that sense, the American Constitution is the paradigm social compact. On its face, it's a Lockean document, the notion being that only those powers which are spelled out in the document itself are conferred upon the central government, and all powers not conferred are retained by the people individually or by the states which represent them.
The Constitution, drafted in Philadelphia in 1787, was a democratic document, but the drafters recognized the dangers of unlimited democracy.
I think the framers were somewhat ambivalent about the meaning of democracy. On the one hand, they believed in popular sovereignty, that power ultimately derives from the people and not from the crown or from some external source. The people are ultimately sovereign. At the same time, the framers were concerned about what Jefferson called the tyranny of the majority, that majority allowed to run unleashed without limitation would prove to be injurious to the rights of individual minorities or other citizens. Therefore, the framers, in writing the Constitution, put in checks and balances, the separation of powers, federalism, and finally a Bill of Rights to create mechanisms by which temporary and transient majorities could be restrained.
American government works by checks and balances. Power is divided between the states and the federal authority in Washington. Federal laws must pass through two houses of Congress, the Senate and the Representatives, each elected on a different principle. To become law, a bill which has passed through both houses must go to the President, who has a limited power of veto. Even after all this, a law may still be invalidated by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional.